Hello, everybody. My name is Bill Leys. I'm with Leys Waterproofing Consultants LLC, and welcome back to another episode of discussing SB 326 inspections. And I want to talk today about how we do inspections, what we often find when we do destructive testing, and talk about some of the tools that we use to do our inspections with. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you about is the fact that we often find indoor-outdoor carpet on top of decks. And this is often a sign that there may be problems underneath the deck when we see the deck covered with this material. And there's a couple things. People will put this down because the deck does have problems, and so they're trying to cover it over. Number two, they want to put this down because the deck doesn't look that good, or maybe it gets very hot and they want to keep their feet cool while they're walking on it. Big problem with products like this is that it's a water trapping product. When water gets underneath it, it does not evaporate back out because of the plastic backing, and so it's causing a lot of damage to decks. So if you're an HOA with owners that have got this on their decks, you need to tell them to throw it away. Get rid of it. It's no good for your decks, and it's going to create a lot of very costly repairs in the future. So when we're out on a deck, we see a lot of different crazy things. One of the things that we often see on decks is at the railings where a iron railing system is penetrating the waterproofing, and this is very often the result of what we see after we take apart the deck. And what we've got is a iron plate, lag bolts bolted through into the wood framing, and the railing was here and would come up and you could lean against that. However, when it penetrates the waterproofing, as many do, we often find that the railing allows leaks, and this is the result. You see a very rusted railing base, and this is very common on a lot of older decks. And so if you go to replace railings, we recommend that you replace railings and have them mount through the fascia board or the fascia, the front of the deck, rather than through the waterproofing. So iron railings can be problematic, and that's something that we always look at when we are out in the field. Another area of concern that we find is wood posts penetrating a deck coating. And you can see that there's flashing around this post. The post up on top is nice and solid. However, the inherent nature of this is that it cannot be waterproofed around here properly. Water will get into the post from up above when the post checks and splits, and it will run down to the bottom. The post looked really good when we first looked at it, but when we were able to get underneath the deck and take a look, we could find that all the damage is down below in the bottom of the post. This post had no structural integrity and could break if somebody leaned against it and allowed them to fall through. You can see all the damage that we have in here. So this is one of the things that we often look at quite carefully when we see this type of wood post on top of your deck. Another thing that we look at when we're on your decks is deck drains. And we find deck drains that are drains that somebody dreamed up, basically. In this case, we've got a drain cover that cannot be removed, and it is embedded in a waterproof coating that's relying on just the coating going over it to keep it waterproof. And when we look behind, we find that we have a plastic plumbing piece. This is not a approved type drain by deck manufacturing companies. They only approve drains such as Thunderbird products, J.R. Smith, other drains that have got metal flanges to allow the waterproof coating to be terminated to it. The other problem that we see with this is that we've got a nice big drain here, but it's going to a 1/2 inch pipe whenever you're going to have a drain, you're going to need to have the drain 1.5 inches at least to 2 to 3 inches, depending on how much water is going to be draining off of that deck into that drain. Remember, in your kitchen sink, your kitchen faucet is served by a 1/2 inch water pipe, but your drain in the kitchen sink is a 2-inch drain, and that's to allow water to be able to flow out. And the same principle applies to deck drains. You need to give it plenty of air and ability for water to drain through, particularly because you're going to get leaves and debris that can get caught in these pipes, and you need to be able to flush them out properly. So that's the other thing we look at. And another big problem, third problem that we run into a lot of times, is in stucco. And when we're doing an inspection, we're doing our visual inspection, and you can see along here that there are rust stains and rust coming through the stucco at the edge. And this is indicative that water is inside the stucco, attacking the metal lath that holds the stucco to the wall and the soffit. And so in this case, when we took this stucco piece off, we did in fact find that there's a lot of rust in the soffit. This is the bottom piece here. This is the wall, so it would be going up the wall like this, and you can see the rust in here, rust in here. What basically happens is water gets into the stucco, travels through, and then it follows this, and because there's no capillary break in this stucco, the water just travels back down and gets into the lath and caused it to rust out. So this ended up causing problems with framing underneath and can be very costly to make repairs. So those are some of the things that we find and look for when we're doing deck inspections. We are also looking on your deck to see if we see cracks in the field of the deck, bubbles, heaves, any kind of defect. People ask us, well, what tools do you use when you're doing an inspection? And with a visual inspection on SB 326, the first tool that we use is actually our eyes. And using your eyes and knowing what you're looking for is very important. One of the things that I have as an advantage over a lot of competitive companies is that I have actually been a waterproofing contractor. I've installed, sold, troubleshot, and inspected hundreds, if not thousands, of decks in my career. So I know what I'm looking for when I get onto a deck and can quickly assess the deck. We do use other tools, and some of those are very simple tools that we use. One of the first things that we like to use is a common poker awl that's got a little sharp point. We can use this to probe wood and other materials with to see if the material is soft or has dry rot in it. Very helpful tool. Another tool that I like to use is a microscope, not a microscope, but a little glass, that magnifying glass. And this allows me to be able to look at your deck coating and see what's happening with it. Sorry, I'm having trouble opening it here. There it goes. I can look through with this and take a look at the deck coating and other materials with it very carefully under the magnifying glass. We can see minute cracks in it that may not be apparent to the naked eye, and with this we can document that those problems are there. Another thing that we like to use as far as our tools go is a FLIR thermal imaging camera, and this little device is a marvel of engineering. It's got a thermal imaging that I can use to detect on the screen. Let me turn it on here. Here we go. So it's got a screen, and you can see behind me, it is looking at the wall that's behind me, and it is detecting temperature. Okay, it does not detect moisture. It's a misnomer that they detect moisture. They detect temperature differences. So a wall or a window or a deck can have different temperatures on it based on the water moisture that's in the wall or deck. And this little thermal imaging camera will detect that. One of the nice things about this, though, is that it also has on the back a touchless moisture meter, which allows us to put it up against anything, any building material, and it will tell us what the moisture content actually is. And so that does read moisture content up to about a ½ inch, depending on the material and the density. So very helpful tool to use. We like to use this whenever we can, wherever we can during our SB 326 inspections. Another tool that is used in inspections is a borescope camera. This one is a Klein borescope camera. It's got a very small camera on it. It's also got a light in it, so we can see what's inside dark cavities after we drill a hole in the bottom of your deck soffit and put this inside. The nice thing about this little device is that it attaches to my phone via USB, and I can take pictures. It saves it to my device, and I can then put it into the report. And we can also see on the screen of my phone what we're seeing with the camera. And we can tell if your wood is infected with fungus, looks rusted with metal fasteners and nails that may be in there and such like that. So those are some of the tools that we like to use. The other thing that we like to talk about today to finish up is when we are doing borescope camera work, it does require drilling a hole into the bottom of your soffit of the deck or balcony, stairs, whatever it might be. And we see this device out here. It's a large vent. It's a fireproof vent. It requires a large hole to be drilled. They're not cheap. They're about $14 a piece. And this is one way to drill into the bottom of the soffit and take a look inside. I tend not to use these a lot because they do get expensive quickly, and they cause a lot of dust to happen when we're drilling. So one of the things that I like to use is a smaller ½ inch vent. This is not a fire rated vent. However, it does have very small screen, pretty much the same size screen as the fire rated vent does. And because of the size and the way that it's set up, I'm not going to say that it's fireproof, but it's probably going to be pretty fire resistant because of its size. And it's very unobtrusive as opposed to these large ones. The nice thing about these two is that as a courtesy to my customers, they come in white and silver and a couple other colors. We can also custom spray paint them so that they are different colors. Any color to match your soffit so that they blend in and aren't an eyesore. So those are some of the things that we do. What we do with investigations, inspections. I'd like to end this with telling you that we can help you out with your SB 326 inspections. Small associations especially are a specialty. We are a small firm and able to handle small associations where larger firms are bypassing these small HOAs. So feel free to give us a call at 805-801-2380 or look us up on the web at sb326deckinspectors.com. Again, that's sb326deckinspectors.com. And I hope to see you soon out in the field and help you out with your SB 326 inspections. Thanks for watching.